Alright, you should be able to hear me now. Because I see my signal going off on audio input capture. But check my. Yeah. Alright, how's this? This good? I'm just going to talk for a minute just to make sure the levels are okay. I guess when I updated Streamlabs, it got a little funky. So did anything change, or can you still hear me? It's a little quiet, but otherwise good. A little quiet, huh? Oh, I see that. Hang on. Hey, Crackshot. I gotta mess with my levels a little bit right now. Think. Hello, check, check, check. Yeah, it is a little quiet. I don't want to turn the level up so high. It does sound different? Oh, that's so weird. Hold on. Oh, wait. Maybe I'm supposed to do this. I think I know what I'm supposed to do. Okay. How is this? Unchanged? Okay. Weird. I don't know what happened. What does it sound like? Quieter? A little metally. What the hell? Alright. Alright. What did I do here? Audio input capture. Alright, now you gotta sit here and watch me do this, so I'm sorry, everybody. So if I do this, echo or a reverb, maybe it's because I have. I think I know why. How is this? Is this any different? Is this better? Is this worse? Okay, so I had two sources on at the same time. Not very loud still. Okay. Amazing quality now. Good. All right. How can I make this louder? I mean, it matters a little bit to me, I think. If it becomes a problem, let me know. I just don't want to crank it all the way up, you know? Is the music too loud for my voice, or is the whole thing kind of quiet? No music. There's no music? What the hell is going on here? Compared to other streams, I'm less loud. Alright. Give me another minute. So what happens if I do this? Am I louder? I'm trying to talk the same, but I turned up my microphone volume all the way on the Streamlabs. Am I louder now? Jeez, I'm gonna have to like cut this out of the VOD. Or maybe I keep it. I don't know. Microphone is picking up. Okay, it's louder. So let me try. Audio input capture should be. Interesting. So what happens if I do this? And then okay, how is this? Is it too much again? Is it echoey? Well, now it's probably better, but now you can't hear music. Quiet music in the background. Interesting, interesting. In my previous streams, you were able to hear the music pretty well. Did you know I was playing music in my past streams? Okay, interesting. Something's up with this. Ever since it just did like a normal update on this. This is annoying. Now you can't hear my music. I don't think that's a big deal. Maybe I should take off my headphones because if I can't hear it, you can't hear it. One of those things. Really, really weird. All right. Well, how's everybody doing? Everybody good? Wish I could figure this out. If I do Spotify, properties, capture method, automatic. Oh, that's the window capture. Okay. Webcam. Global settings. Audio monitoring device. Headphones. Enable Twitch VOD track. Oh, that's interesting. Desktop audio device. Okay, wait. Confused by my comment when I said LOL on your SNC deck because it was ridiculous. It's so much redundancy. It's like, it's just funny. I think it's ever since I downloaded NVIDIA Broadcast. So what if I do desktop audio device, headphones? Can you hear the music now? Interesting. Okay, so like reset all my audio. All right. Yes. Okay, and you can hear me okay? Like everything's good? I just had to change my global settings and not the actual source. Okay. All right. Very, very good. Okay, we did it. It only took 20 minutes, but we did it. Thank you. I'm really bad with computer stuff. Like I've had computers and like messed around with computers my whole life. I just never like learned how to like use them, I guess. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, everyone. 20 minutes. No big deal, right? Right. Oh, by the way, how do I do this? These were the computers, but starting is a new kind of beast. So wait, so Crackshot, your deck, your SNC deck was. It was just like funny how good it was. Like my LOL was literally just saying like, dude, this is ridiculous. Where is it? I'm downloading this so I could show everybody. Save image. Desktop. Okay. Where's my unknown? Hello, Zach. Good, man. This is a chill-ass stream today. I hope you're ready to chill. I thought you'd be working. I know you usually work during the day, during the week, and all that, like most people. Open. Alright. Look at this. Look at this thing. Don't even tell me this isn't just fucking hilarious. 4 court officials, 4 Grizzly Sigil is just Jeff's kiss. And dig up the bodies. I love the random Evelyn and Shakedown Heavy in there too. It's basically just mono black, which is just awesome. And you are just getting an extreme value on Corrupt Court Official. You have like a couple of rares, couple of removal spells, your Broken Bomb. Like, it's awesome. It's great. I love it. It's really funny, but I love it. I'm working. Well, I'm okay. I normally have a break between 2 and 4 to go for a walk every day with the prospect of scattering dangerous thunderstorms. Yeah, I was supposed to go to the city, or I got invited to go to the city to go cube, and play Commander and stuff. And, yeah, the weather forecast in New York City is pretty sketch, and they have, like, a warning for, like, I don't know, thunderstorms, maybe flash flooding, wind, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to commute in that. But we'll see. I mean, if it cools off in the next couple hours, maybe I'll head into the city to play Magic. Yep, start of the deck. It is start of the deck. It's just funny. How do I normally get around? I normally take the train. Yeah, nice job though. I would be shocked if you didn't have a good record with this deck. Not playing Shadow Mortality is just so savage to me though. But I guess it's never really going to get cast because you have 4 Grizzly Sigils. So maybe that's actually correct. I like trains. Alright. So, here's what we're going to do today. We're just going to have it's pretty chill. We're just going to talk about, like, you know, I made the post about, like, cube rituals yesterday. And I guess, like, I just wanted to have a little hangout with everybody, talking about what we think about, like, our gatherings and any rituals that we have when we cube with people. In other words, like, who do we cube with? How often do we do that? Where do we do it? Is it like an event, or is it just like friends getting together? Like, are we cooking? Are we brunching? Are we, like, you know, going out for drinks? Are we, like, watching a movie or whatever afterward? Is it like an event for you, or is it just like, you know, a weekly thing, like a weekly regular gathering with the same people? And you know, how do you go about how do you go about like whatever divvying the cube up, and I don't know, just anything you wanted to talk about with regards to like what what is it about like being a cube owner, uh, and how you like share it, like what kind of community do you have if you have one, and how do you share it with people and stuff. I don't have a ground IRL. Yeah, I don't have a group, like a solid group yet. I'm looking to put one together. Just like a lot of the people I used to play Magic with got married and like had kids and stuff. Super lame, I know. But me, little old me, still wants to like hang out and play Magic all the time. So online cubing is fun. It doesn't beat paper cubing for me though. Online cubing is part of it, I think. Like Discord cubing and stuff is like definitely something that like we can talk about in like in a COVID world, where like a lot of us turn to that to like play Magic or have Magic communities, over the last couple of years, especially in 2020. So I guess I'll talk about like some of the responses I got, and then I'll talk about my own. But first, I want to go over some cube news, which is to say what kind of stuff came up over the last week that I could talk about. So I definitely reached out to Dan over here and was like, "Yo, come on, you're gonna post this and you're not gonna post deck lists? Like, what the hell is that? Like, did it even happen? Deck lists or it didn't happen kind of thing." So we're gonna talk about the cube drafts I missed. CubeCon has not made their decision yet, so I have not heard back yet. Fingers are crossing your fingers though. One quick note on that: I did add shocks to my mana base, but only the black shocks. I added 2 of them, as like my first temporary solution to playing with Death Shadows. So we'll see how that goes. I have to order more shock lands actually. I should probably do that today. Okay. So we got some deck lists. So let's do some deck lists. So Mr. Ferrando, who is actually in the city right now, hoping that we'll play Magic later. I really hope I do. I'll be honest. If it doesn't get too crazy, maybe I'll try to go into the city. But Matt, so they drafted twice at Dan's, and it was Ferrando's. I think it was Ferrando's common uncommon cube, and then and Dan's devoid cube. All right. So we got. So Ferrando has a really cool common uncommon cube, because he's got linear archetypes, and not all the decks are like Muldrifters, but you still have the normal means of card advantage in rarity restricted cubes, but you have like there's more synergistic game plan stuff that happens. Ooh. In the fall, I was drafting with a group of friends and friends of friends every 3 to 4 weeks, but then COVID got too bad. It was consistently 4 to 5 people we'd eat pizza. Since then, it's only been 2-player drafts every 2 weeks, but planning a big draft in early June. Good. Every 3 to 4 weeks is pretty good. Getting 8 people, like having a group of 8 feels like such a... It's not something that like is a given. It's even in New York City, I thought it would be super easy, but it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's just the company that I keep. Like a lot of people are just very busy and a little older, but I don't know. Like I know like Dan has a really easy time getting 8 people together, I think. Anyway. I like the, I definitely had we have a WhatsApp of 10 people who are interested, but never get more than 5. Well, yeah, that's the old party adage, right? You have to, if you want 10 people to come to your party, you have to invite at least 20. 8 to draft consistently is really tough. I feel like I got super lucky to get 7. Dude, I was so bummed I missed that, because I wanted to see Seth, before he went to Milan. Seth is somebody who I, like, met at Dan's, and he was he was a judge at SCGCon in Pittsburgh, and we hung out and we cubed, and he invited me to a Discord that he runs, and nice guy, but then like he was like immediately moving away, so Dan, we should talk because I want to start firing like regular drafts like every 2 weeks or whatever. And I posted something about it in Seth and Corey's Discord, and I want to like get like every 2 weeks, like do a couple of drafts on like a Sunday or something. It's really more hard to maintain community without having an easy means of adding people. Whenever my draft community stopped playing consistent LGSs, attrition became a huge deal. Yeah, because then it becomes about like, scheduling 8 people together, which is like, it's really hard. It doesn't even matter like who it is, Like I think like Ryan Sachs was like really lucky to get like 10 to 15 people to come draft in the couple of months that he was able to do that before COVID. In his old WeWork, it was like a WeWork space or something. I tried to bring people. I brought maybe a couple people, but like there was like a lot of interest in like having a, New York City community cube draft thing, and I was like really enthusiastic about it, and so was Ryan, and I know a couple other people were too, but it fell apart pretty quickly. Well, COVID happened, so it fell apart. One person drops out of a team draft league season, their teammates don't find it for a third, and they drop out. Yeah, it's happened more than a handful of times. I'm probably down. My issue is really just not being too open. Well, I don't want to do it in. Well, if it's with you, Dan, it's not going to be in public. Yeah, I don't have. I could support 8 people if I had more chairs, I guess. But then there's like the logistics of. I'd probably have to think about that. Because I have to make sure Kate's comfortable with it. Make sure the dog is chill. It's something I could think about. I honestly just have to get more chairs. I have a table that like expands, and I could have 8 people sit there. I can also 8 people. I'm also super well, I'm COVID conscious too, just like you. Yeah, I mean you have to have like multiple tables in your place. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit more too. Like maybe I have to logistically figure out something because like I've always tried to fire cube drafts at other people's places. I should probably figure out just how to host people in my place. I think it's good to be COVID conscious still, personally. Okay. See, like this is what I mean. Just the logistics of it in New York are incredibly difficult. I don't know, like, if anybody's in chat watching and they don't live in New York City, like, it's not easy. And it should be easy just because, in theory, because there's so many people here. But, like, it's actually, like, really hard. And, like, you have to cast a really wide net just to get 8 people together. I know, like, I'm part of a Facebook group because I'm still somehow on Facebook with Hot Soup. What's his name? Scalding Hot Soup. The guy who was in Team Draft League with us. Ian. Yeah, Ian. I think Ian like can only fire so many drafts. Yeah. And this is like pre-COVID stuff too. I don't think this is like I know like everyone knows that like getting 8 people together to play Cube now is obviously harder for other reasons, just because of getting people together is harder in a COVID world. But like even pre-COVID, it started to get really hard. I even asked like my LGS, Game Storia and Astoria Queens, if they would do, if I could fire cube drafts there, and he's like, I couldn't even figure out a time with him. I want to do Sundays, but he has Pioneer on Sundays, which I might do also. I know, I gotta start testing Pioneer more. Anyway, we're not talking about Pioneer. We're talking about all this stuff today. So let's go over these cube drafts at Dan's place. So this was Common Uncommon Cube, which Ferendo has been working on for a long time. Like he's had this cube since I've known him, I think. So almost 10 years. And he works a lot on it, but doesn't get to draft it nearly as much as he should be drafting it, because it's actually pretty fun whenever I do play. It is a rarity restricted cube, so it's not like super dense archetype wise, but he does define archetypes extremely well, which I appreciate. And you have the high, it's very high synergy, because I have a hair on my face, because Brando really likes high synergy environments, and high synergy interactions. But there's also linear and modular stuff going on in there. There's combo. There's kind of a Stormy deck. There's aggro. There's Enchantress. There's a lot of cool there's a lot of stuff that's supported in the cube. We used to play tabletop games at university near me. Doubt that would be an option with COVID. Yeah, probably not. Probably not now. Yeah. So I guess Ferrando tried to recreate the decks that he had people had drafted. So we have a 2/1 red deck. Oops. This is this looks like what Ferrando drafts when he's not able to get blue cards, which is essentially a blue-red deck that doesn't play blue. A blue-red aggressive deck. Note the Diamond Knight, very good. Stalking Yeti. There are and Skred, so there are snowlands in the cube. And he said 200 content went 201 a green black graveyard stuff. Seth went rug. Oh, Smolin was there. Oh shit. Smolin, the legend. First cube I ever played when I came back to playing Magic was Brian Smolin's powered cube. Really fun. All basics are snow in the cube. Yeah. He went blue-white. Placenta played Noel. That looks like a big old typo. Paul played green-white pants. Class. That's very great. Usually, I notice that Paul plays kind of greed pile-y decks or control-y decks. I've never seen them play an aggressive deck or a combo deck like this, like a Bogles kind of thing. I'll have to look at the list. And then Zach played blue-green stuff. Sounds about right. This looks like a green-black deck. So what do you have? You have Skeleton, Mindrock Harpy, Necromancer. Buried Ogre is just really sweet. This isn't really a spider spawning deck, but I understand why it's there. Salvage, Void Beckoner I like. Demonic Tutor and Necromancy are pretty powerful. I don't really like Blizzard Brawl in these decks either. I never want to play with Sylvan Library and Elixir of Immortality again. Caps are intentional, yes. I understand that. Buried Ogre. It's incredible, yeah. It's a free entomb for a 6/4. It's amazing. Free. I mean, whatever. One life. So, and then Kanta says, this is the first time I cast Demonic Tutor 4 times in a game and lost. How do you cast Demonic Tutor 4 times? Just e-witnessing it back. Yeah. And then rebuying e-wit. Well, I mean, it's hard to lose a game where you get to Demonic Tutor 4 times. I'm just going to say that. Rebuying e-wits. What do we got here? Blue-white garbage. So it's Yeah, it just doesn't have any focus to it. Because these decks are usually supposed to be like Blink decks or Skies decks. And this just has like a bunch of stuff going on here, like Student of Ojutai, Scholar of the Ages, Ghostblade Eidolon. There is the Mist Meadow Witch, yeah. All That Glitters. Yeah, there's like some stuff that's not really going on here. It's against Fernando's red decks. He did some durdling against aggro. Brian's deck was half and half. Yeah, it was like half and half. That's okay. I mean, I get it. Like, too many 3-drops and stuff. Yeah, like it was like Enchantress plus Flyers plus Blink. I lost in the sauce on that one. And then we've got Pants. Mazavith. Mazavith is actually pretty good with like some of this like pant stuff. Kind of prevents them from using tricks and stuff. The one Lurking Automaton. Love that. Cameron's Transformation. What is Scaled Devastation? It was a 10/10 automaton. Got it. Yeah, right. It's like destroy all small creatures, destroy all medium creatures, destroy all large creatures. Gotta remember that. And then this looks like Teamer. I think it's what Seth drafted. 10 creatures. Not really. Yeah, I mean, this deck doesn't really do anything. Like, it has the Grumgully and the Hot Spring. And I guess you can, like, Fire Spout some people sometimes and just catch them off guard. But, like, Chemist's Insight doesn't really do anything. Shafet Monitor doesn't really do anything. Migration Path. I mean, it's like you're just drawing more cards to, like, draw more cards. Can't really... This deck just doesn't really end the game, which is kind of unfortunate because it has a lot of the, like, cool pieces. Alright. I'll probably be here when you get back. Oh, wait. Did I look at all the deck lists already? What's this? What's this deck? See, this looks like a better version of the last one. Oh, this is the Elixir of Immortality Sylvan Library deck again. This is Zach's deck. That deck is real fucking funny. This just looks like I'm gonna bore my opponent to death. I mean, you have like good late game here, but like yeah, you also just have like you said, like Elixir is probably like your best. Elixir is probably like how you like try to win most of your games because like things just go and go and go. They bored the shit out of my opponents. Yep, that sounds about right. Oh, that's so funny. Why was there a active aggression in your deck? I almost feel like you'd want to play Ninja. Or Stream of Thought, or something like even more nonsensical. Phyrexian Ironfoot. 3 mana, 3/4, doesn't untap. Untap it with 1 in snow. That's a cool card. And then they killed me because my Sylvan, the Sylvan was a traitor. And Hiroshima was there as actual interaction deck would have killed for array command. Got it. Got it. One time I saw Actius was a very expensive one-shot Mazavith, yeah. Yeah, it just like doesn't have like any way to like interact with something that's on the board. If you just like play a bunch of shit and like just sit there and maybe win with Impulse's Clutches or Behold, and then when those get killed, you reshuffle them back in and hope that you don't die. That's funny. Yeah, like these like value piles look like they struggle a little bit. There's the cube. If anybody wants to look at it, I should follow this. There we go. Your brain should hurt while drafting this. That's funny. Yeah, if you want to check out the list, it's actually pretty fun. I've played it a bunch of times. The issue is my opponent's having infinite time to assemble a one-turn kill. Yeah. Yeah, because your deck just, like, tried to, like, you know, go big. But didn't have a way to, like, close the game. You know, you probably would have killed just for, like, a Nemesis of Mortals. Or even just, like, a Greater Tanuki. Just something that was, like, another just, like, really big thing. And then, like, a couple pieces of interaction. Hello, Kadar. How are you, sir? Nice to hear from you, bud. Welcome to the chill zone. This is very, very chill zone today. I feel like for Peasant Cube, it's much easier to just kind of declare, I want to play this today because the power level is usually so flat, you can play whatever you want. That's true. You can. But, like, those kinds of formats typically become... When everything's really flat, it becomes, like, Muldrifter Tribal. But what I like about Frando's Cube is that it's, there's like very, very distinct archetypes in the cube. Or at least some of them are very distinct. What's the size of the cube? It's 514 cards. Chillin' is right. It's restful month so far. Good, but it's restful. I did not draft Caleb Ginnon's cube, no. Yeah, 514. Oh, we're not going there. Let's see. So then, what else happened? So, we don't have any... We have deck lists, I think, from... Istical. No, it's work-life value. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to find the Devoid... Yeah, the Devoid Cube stuff. Okay. Oh, wait, and then here's, before we do that, there's Dan's mono-white deck. Being proactive in this cube is usually pretty good. Yeah, Celestial Crusader is pretty good. Spectral Procession is extremely good, if you can cast it early. I'm assuming you won a lot of your games with, like, flyers. I would take Procession over Force of Will, yeah. In this cube. Phyrexian Mana is a problem solver. Tezzeret's Gambit, Spinethopter, Porcelain Legionnaire. I mean, hey, and Dismember, you know? Okay, so next up was the Devoid Cube. Okay, so this is Devoid Cube stuff. So, if you haven't drafted it before, Devoid Cube is Isticle's Cube. It's it's based on a theme of things being devoid. All the basics are wastes. You have to draft colored sources. Yeah, it's just flyers plus buff. So this was an 0-2. Played against two other Jordal decks with better engines and top end story time. One of our drafters, the first time To the Void Cube and hadn't played Magic in a while. I built a monster of a value engine. Okay, so we'll look at that next. So this deck went 0-2. So let's see. Looks like you took a bunch of lands and you were fighting for lands with Zach, I think. Yeah, I talked about this deck. I talked about this cube before, but I didn't go to this draft. This was on Saturday. Oh, so Smolin was the one that you're referring to. Yeah, Smolin has not played Magic in a while, for sure. Yeah, this cube is awesome. I want this cube to be on Magic Online, but it's like really hard to do. Everybody, it's lunchtime. Oh my god.
I think he's a little bland, but I think this stuff will make up for it.
It is lunchtime, everyone. Thank you. Happy lunch, as they say. I believe, so I think Isticle has a actual, like, number, like a percentage that he can reasonably guess. I think it's somewhere like, it's like below 5%, but it might be around 5%. Is that right? I think I just got a new follower. You own about 1% of the global supply. That's amazing. Like, you might be the person that owns the most waste in the world, I think. Most foil waste. But it's a long-term thing. I mean, I'm glad you bought them when you did, because somebody else might have just bought them all, like on the open market or whatever. But, you know, the number went down, but it'll probably go back up. You should still be happy that you have them. I mean, if I can see who followed me. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. That's okay. I'll figure it out. All right, Zoe. Take it easy. So, anyway. So what I think about this cube is, you obviously took a lot of the non-basics. Zach took a lot of the non-basics. That means you're like trying to wheel things for your deck or get power outliers, you know, over the lands. I imagine somebody ends up on the short end of the stick in that situation. Favorite was a Gavin Snow story at some point about deciding on the OB card list for TSR. He floated away. Someone directly asked him and said, "Does anybody want this?" And he could say, "Yes." I know of one person that wants 100 of them. All right. All right. So Brian built this deck. The From Beyond Skull Clamp, Mimic Vat, Pierce Strider. Nice. Definitely probably took that Skull Clamp early because a lot of this shit works with that. What does Scarecrow do in your cube? Return. Oh. It's like a grindy reanimate thing. It's pretty cool. Kind of try to do like an Ironworks thing. Just didn't get Scrap Trawler, which is understandable. Yeah. That's pretty good. Alright. This sports day is insane. Oh, that's fucking sweet. Yeah, this is like big. This is big cube energy right here. It's definitely like building decks like this is something that I have to try when I play this cube again, because you know, I love the aggro deck that I drafted. I love playing aggro in general. I need like more reps with like drafting decks like this when you can when it's so strongly advised to do this. Have you eaten salad with chopsticks before? I think it works better than a fork. I mean, shoveling food in my mouth is not the ideal way of eating salad. This is like a warm salad though. There's just lettuce in it, but it's like it's mostly like cauliflower rice and tempeh and stuff. Infinite one mana value vindicates. That's really funny. No other devoid cube deck list though. Cube. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love this. I love this cube. It definitely here we go. It definitely scratches an itch that no other cube can do. Fucking bearish with Nev's Disc Perilous Vault Contagion Engine. It's like exactly how he wants to play Magic. Oh. Did this person play Currency Converter? Was that you? How was the Currency Converter? Did it do anything interesting? Yeah, the issue with this cube on MTGO is you have to draft all your lands. And then you only get basics in the land box. So I don't know how they do that. Okay, you had a Containment Construct and Currency Converter. It would, and it's probably not worth it to them. It's actually kind of devastating that McDarby isn't working on Magic Online anymore. They should make a a totally random thought. We should make a like an herb board that makes all lands tap for colorless mana. Well, I think David likes Cube more than Chaos. Oh, I'm not surprised. You were too ready for aggro. Yeah, I would. Seth's like. One of 3 affinity drafters, affinity aggro players at the table. Open Ghostfire, got past Ravager. Yeah, I mean Ghostfire Blade felt so necessary. And Ravager, obviously, even though I didn't have it. That's a shame. Like Eldrazi stomping. Is that like a thing? I'm almost done here. Yeah. All right. We got there. God damn, that was good. Someone sees Iron Temple earlier, they'll take a lot of colorless Eldrazi, yeah. Do you play cards like Sylvan Scrying in your cube? I guess it's not colorless, so you probably can't play it. Yeah, like cards that tutor lands. I know. Like whenever I think of cards that I want to add to the Devoid Cube, I'm always like picking cards. Yeah, Expedition Map. I know, you need to get like a colorless crop rotation. That would be nice. Do you play the card, this probably doesn't have a... It's probably not going to have too many targets in this cube anyway. Oh, that's cool. Moonsilver Key. Yeah, there's not many. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. You should... this card is definitely great for your cube. Yeah, that's interesting. Alright. Well, I guess I could say we also, alright, so that was that. That was the draft. So we also, on another note, and I know he's not here right now, but we can talk about Zach's Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. UMA inspired cube. So I helped Zach work on this over the last couple weeks, mostly to help cut down and suggest stuff that to help hone in on what we were trying to do, or what he was trying to do. But I want to just talk a little bit about the cube as I see it. I'm not one of the designers. I just helped work on getting the rough draft together for Zach. But I'm excited to try this cube. So UMA is one of, hey, how are ya? Thanks for coming in. This is one of Zach's like favorite draft formats that he's ever had or that he's ever played. And he talked to me for a long time about wanting to build a cube that focused in on the a lot of the themes that UMA did, which is, you know, some people call it Graveyard Masters. It kind of is. But there's just a lot of things that touch the graveyard. Alright, so yeah, the pillars of the format are spells, which are cast and go to the graveyard and interact with the battlefield. Graveyard directly stuff like self-mill, delve and reanimator, and then there's like artifact stuff. And artifact stuff he chose to do instead of like in UMA there was like heroic. So this is the aggressive strategy that doesn't have to use the graveyard, but has like a sacrifice theme. So like the artifact thing is cool because like it does touch the graveyard just like incidentally or like in a tertiary kind of way. Whereas in UMA, the draft format, there was green like white heroic or like green white heroic or whatever it was. And that didn't touch the graveyard at all. It was just like the other deck that was more linear and was like if everyone else is taking the good graveyard value stuff, you just take you end up in, you know, Wingsteed Rider, Tribal or whatever. So artifact stuff looks maybe a little out of place, or like if you're wondering why it's there, what's cool about it is that a lot of the cards in it you can touch the graveyard. And so that was like an interesting choice, I thought. And then something else that I liked was that he also chose to break Singleton on it, which, as you know, I like that. So Singleton breaking was very deliberate and only on a choice cards that were like very, very considered extremely vital to the gameplay, the intended gameplay patterns of the cube, and also like archetype defining cards. So whereas like I break Singleton for archetype defining cards, and then lands, which are like the glue. Zach did archetype defining cards like Spider Spawning and Rise from the Tides, and then but also cards like Fiery Temper, which are just like glue, you know, enablers for a lot of what the cube is trying to do. So let's take a look at the list. It is. See, I only stream through OBS, so I can't actually post links. Maybe I can. Yeah, like if I try to do this, it won't let me post a link. It's very weird. Nice hearing from you too, Kadar. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Yeah, so I suggest you take a look at this and see some of the stuff that's going on here, because it's something that it's an approach to designing cube that I enjoy because it's very focused on the gameplay patterns, and intentionally supports archetypes by breaking singleton. These are things that, like, you know, I really believe in, and maybe that's why Zach tapped me to help do cuts. But this cube is at like 800 something cards. I didn't cut down all the way with him, but it was really fun to just like sit on Discord chat and just like go through everything, talk through everything, and then like pick out what isn't quite sticking around. Yeah. One thing I will say about graveyard focus stuff is that, like, you do have to pick something that doesn't touch the graveyard. Everything can't touch the graveyard, just because, like, not like white and green have a much harder time touching the graveyard directly. I think white the most, even though it has gotten some reanimation spells recently, like Late for Dinner, as like a good example, and historically it's had cards like Resurrection and Miraculous Recovery is like directly reanimation. But there's also other ways to do it too, like Face Reward and Savine's Reclamation. There's ways to do it that aren't like, not everyone's like doing value. It's just like figuring out like things dying, things coming in and out of the graveyard, like changing zones, gaining value out of discarding, gaining value out of casting things and having them go to the graveyard, like spells stuff. Anything, any and all ways that you can like expand the space you're looking at is really important when you're brainstorming a concept. Like, you need to look at not only like, okay, I'm making a graveyard cube as like a theme. Like, it's a very mechanical approach to take, right? Like, how do I design a cube that, what if the cube like was overly focused on the graveyard? You know, what comes out of that? Thinking about all the ways in which things can touch the graveyard or engage with the graveyard or go to the graveyard, like not just mill, but death and discard and casting stuff, like, and like zooming out a lot more on what that space looks like is really important. I would say like designing with more stuff in mind and focusing it in when you know like the edges of the space, like the far edges of what you're looking at, is probably slightly more valuable in my experience than like starting focusing on one thing and trying to build outward from that, or like focusing on each thing individually, you know, like what are all the cards that do this, what are all the cards that do this, what are all the cards that do this. I like taking more of a holistic approach whenever possible. It's not always possible. This is a first draft. It's a good example of like a pretty fleshed out idea, and you know, as I've said to you on the stream before, we need to start with the idea, flesh out the idea, and then playtest it, get feedback, and iterate. And now we're at the playtest, feedback, iterate phase. We're moving into that phase with this draft, and I think it'll be. This is the part that I'm most excited about. As I've gotten like more used to designing cubes, I've become far more interested in this aspect of the design process. Because and I stress this, I think it's important to stress that as I do often on the stream, because I really need to hammer home with everybody in chat and everybody that watches this that just the idea itself, while valuable, is not like presenting to me a finished idea doesn't do much. Like I can't do much with that. We can talk about the idea or how we can work out the idea or flesh out the idea better, but like when you actually sit down and play the stuff is when you really get to know whether or not your idea is good. And a lot of times I think cubes are presented to me and others in ways that are like all the emphasis is on the idea and the draft, and how things are honed, how you problem solve is where I really want everybody to focus in on their design process. And that's something that like is more boring because it takes more time, and it can be harder because you're trying to figure out how to solve problems instead of like create space, you know? It's like that for it's like the like, you know, making a cube become what it wants to be is the process of like removing yourself from it. And I think that removing the self, removing the ego is like a really overlooked aspect of the how we focus on, you know, cube design, or what we think is important to cube design. You know, you could stop me whenever, but like thinking about like when people talk about their cubes as being an extension of themselves, like, or their idea is so important that it has to be identified as theirs and theirs alone, I find like a lot of fault with that, in that while it's possible and while it obviously can be successful, is not only a lot harder, but isn't like necessary to any design process. Think about Wizards of the Coast, how many people work in the design department and how they still get things wrong. And they're literally the people that make the game. If there's anything I've learned and I believe in, it's that we should really not think about cube as an isolated exercise with an emphasis on like your design ideas are like precious to you and shouldn't be challenged or changed, or that you should work more with other people on your ideas. And not just your playtesters, but like the people that sit down to just draft and play and give feedback, but like other people that you can collaborate with on all aspects of the process. That's it. I'm done with my rant on that. Hopefully that was a little bit of value to you. I'm happy to go on more, but I don't want to just bore you guys to death with all that shit. It's interesting stuff to me, but it's not like something that is maybe as engaging as just like looking at deck lists and stuff. Okay, we're about an hour 20 into this. I want to get into the fielded question that I posted. You know, I wanted to get some content for everybody for today, because there was I didn't honestly play a lot of Magic this last week. My work week was pretty tough. It was pretty long, and I was really tired after most days, so I didn't really have it in me. You know, I'll fire up Arena or whatever, or I'll find like, I'll try to find a moment in the day where I can play some Magic, especially at night, like when I'm at home from work and I've eaten dinner and stuff. And like, there's a lot of times where I don't feel like being competitive, or like don't feel like playing Magic, because like I know I'm just gonna like get irritated with the game if I start playing it. And I was like really full of that energy this past week. I really couldn't engage with the game, and that's cool. Like I used to try to not power through that or not listen to that part of myself. But I think it's important for me to know when I need to like just take a little bit of a break. And so I did that this past week. So, you know, I need to give you all a chance to engage and hopefully have a conversation on stream with y'all about something related to the community at large and how we all think about one aspect of cubing. And I guess for me it was thinking about like our rituals, and that's kind of like a weird, that's kind of like a little woo-woo new agey word to spew out. But I think like, so let me explain it. Cube rituals are like, to me, I define them as like, okay, you're a cube owner, so how do you go about playing your cube? Everything from like sleeving it up, shuffling it up, making packs. Do you commute? Do you play in your own place? Who do you play with? Do you play with the same people? Do you play every week? Do you play every month? Do you play every 2 weeks? Do you always play with different people? how do you organize your event? Do you just get people together because like we're all used to hanging out together and cubing together, and it's just like hanging out with the boys or whatever? Or is it, is it event based where like you're inviting people into your home or inviting people out to meet each other, and we're meeting and socializing together for the first time, or some of us for the first time? Are we playing for anything? Are we incentivizing, spiking the draft? Or are there prizes? Is there money on the line? Does somebody have to buy lunch? Do you all eat? If you do eat, who cooks? Do you order food? Do you have everybody make the packs? Do you make them beforehand? Do you use cube-majigs? Do you what are the things that you do as a cube owner for your group, or for whoever happens to be drafting with you? There's a lot. There's a lot of questions that I just wanted to know. How people thought about their own micro community. So I got some answers, but while I'm reading through these, I just want to hear from you if you didn't answer, or you're motivated to answer, which I know you don't have to, but just in case.
Do you want the rest?
Yes. It's really, really good. What do you think?
Kind of dry and bland to me.
Okay, that's really good.
Thank you.
It's really, really good. I'm getting the rest of the food. So let's go over some of the answers, and then I'll talk maybe a little about mine too. Food, yes, food important. So I'm gonna get to Thomas's later, because I think Thomas has a unique situation in that he is literally a tournament organizer. So let's start with somebody that some of you probably know, Anthony Maddox, who's one of the principal people behind Lucky Paper Radio, who I know some people like to listen to. So, I know that Anthony is a chef, and maybe amateurly or not, I'm not actually really sure. I just know that Anthony likes to cook a lot when he has cube drafts, and I think they, I've had weekend long things, and they've had weekly things. So, okay, monthly-ish for Anthony. I do an afternoon draft, cook a big dinner, and have an evening draft. Try to get a weekday night cube at the LGS going, which I'm excited is starting to pick up steam. That's good. Random other games here and there. Every once in a while, a big non-stop cube draft weekend. See, that's a lot. Anthony BMKTPT. Is that you, Anthony? Are you lurking in chat? Very amateur but enthusiastic. Well, you know what, dude? I've seen your food porn, and I gotta say, looks really, really good. I don't care. No, a lot of people lurk during the stream. It's fine. I tend to I tend to have monologues a lot in the stream, so it's cool. And today's really chill anyway. So, I invoked Anthony, and he arrived. I have to say, you have a lot of, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You do have a lot of, you do a monthly thing. You're trying to do a weekday, a weekly weekday night cube thing. And then you do get to fire up maybe other things every once in a while. And then you do big draft weekends, probably every couple months. So do you... So I saw when Scotty and Magrini flew down. Do you have other people participate in food prep? Between how does that work? Are people playing cube, and then when their round finishes they come over and they chop up the asparagus? How do you is that the whole thing is it organized, or are you just employing people who are standing around? Also, what's to drink? Tell me. I must know. I'm really bad at doing that. Delegating stuff too. But, We do what we can. I mean, there are definitely menus, but it's more like cooking in bulk. And you always seem to like add more of a flair to your food, where it's like more put together. That's good. Sometimes it's hard to just get people to make packs, so it's good to hear people helping clean up. How many people do you usually have, like, on your roster? Is it hard to, like, get 8 people? You have more? You fire 2 pods? Like, how does that work? Have these, like, roasted Brussels sprouts and this, and the tempeh. It's nice. I could eat stuff like this all the time. Like, I love simple food. I love simple food. I had a pretty strict eating regimen for a number of years, so I got used to eating like rice and beans and vegetables. That stuff can sate me as well as anything else can. I do have cravings like anybody else, but I don't crave like anything too crazy. Like lately I've been eating pizza about once a week, and I'll have just like a slice or two. And for me that's like a big deal. I'm pretty careful about trying to eat well. Alright. Snippy Gall. Another person that gets to host in their house. You know, there's probably something there that I'm missing. I probably do need a host. I have to shop for some chairs. Chairs or cube foils? That's tough. Is there a way I can just turn a bunch of old cube foils into a chair? I would do that. Chairs are not a requirement, but foils are. You could also argue the opposite. Yeah. They're not. I'm making a joke, but like, if I do get some chairs, I want to make sure that they at least are comfortable. I have like 4 chairs, plus some stools. I probably only need a couple more chairs. So Sniffy's got a core group of 3 to 6. Meet once or twice a month. It's Cuban Commander. And they cook dinner. And feed everybody before they play. Wow. Sniffy Gull is pretty gracious. Having people over once or twice a month. They cook dinner. And everybody plays Magic. That's really nice. Alright. Aqua. The lovely Aqua. With the crazy altered cube. So Aqua plays a ton of Magic in Seattle. I believe they still live in Seattle. Every Tuesday, with different people, Um, they meet up every week, but only occasionally for them. Entry fee, store credit, great. One in West Seattle, scheduled erratically at somebody's house, a store at a brewery. No prizes. One in Seattle, private residence, no prizes. So 3 different groups. That's impressive. And I like the entry fee store credit situation. If I can ever do drafts at my LGS, I would definitely do entry fee store credit. I love the idea of incentivizing people to like play well. Because like one of the things that I've noticed over the years is like there's not a lot of not a lot of the people I've played with are like spiky, or there's like people that like some of them are like they try to win, and there's people that like very much don't, to the point where like they'll ask if we can like redraft because they like force something that like they shouldn't have, or like they train wreck their deck and then they're like, can we just draft again? Or like it'll be like pack 2 and they'll be like, can we draft again? And then they'll like hate their deck, play around, and then like drop or like go home or whatever. That's definitely happened to me, you know, some percentage of the time over the years. And I tried finding ways to like incentivize people to like play well or try and win, right? Like put something on the line. None of them ever panned out, but I'd be willing to hear if anybody has ever had similar issues and what they try to do. So I want people to like draft well and play well. But for a lot of people, if there's nothing on the line, that was delicious. For a lot of people, if there's nothing on the line, they're not. You don't know what's going to happen. I'm not saying they have to play like super tight or whatever, but like, you know, don't draft like 5. Like, don't like just YOLO and whatever. Like, don't, you know, be despondent about the cube and like leave because there's nothing on the line after 1 round or whatever. Maybe that's a symptom of living in New York City and everybody being busy, but what have I tried to do? I've tried to the easiest thing that I ever came up with was, all right, we're gonna draft my cube. It does, yeah. It happens a lot more online because people don't feel like obligated because they're not in person to like be there. But like what I tried to do was say, hey, we're gonna order food when we play, like before we start drafting. Let's all sit down. I'll order food for everybody on my Seamless app or whatever, and whoever 3-0s the cube, I will pay for their lunch. I enjoy well playing well. I think you train wreck your draft and straight up don't enjoy playing your deck. It sucks and I'm fine if you want to drop or whatever. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, it can suck when your deck is just bad. And then, like, you know, like somebody that, like, tries to draft Storm in a 540 and they, like, we don't open up any, you know, Tendrils or Brain Freeze or anything like that. And you just feel, like, really, you know, sad. Especially maybe your opponent uses cube equals MDG of vintage cube. Well, most drafters, if they're not like experienced cube drafters, they tend to draft cubes as though they are MTGO vintage cubes. Like there's not a lot of effort. I mean, people like are like generally more savvy about cubes. Maybe when I was doing this in like 2015 or whatever, it was like very different because like there wasn't as like maybe my cube was built badly, or maybe like there wasn't as much like interest in like playing cube well or like understanding if an environment was different, how to play differently. I understand your point though. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to like compete for money or whatever, but like I just wanted somebody to feel like there was something on the line, you know? So like they would care a little bit. And um like offering to buy people food or whatever was like something that like I thought would work and it kind of did. But then like I tried to do that and somebody was just like, just let me give you the money for the food. And I was like, God damn it. I wanted to pay for your lunch as like a reward. You know, as like a prize. Yeah, that happened every time I tried offering to buy people food for winning. And then the other other thing I did was I made a maybe board in a box, like a separate box from the cube. And then I said, if you throw the cube, you get to look through the maybe board and you get to pick a couple cards that you want me to put in. And you get to pick a couple cards that you want to cut. And that I thought was like really cool, you know, like, oh, I get to change the cube, which would maybe make the person more invested in the cube so they'd be more interested in seeing how it evolved. But what ended up happening was somebody would look through the maybe board and be like, I don't know. And they would just like pick a card and then they'd be like, just cut something and put it in. And it didn't go over like I thought it was going, like I thought it would. So neither of those things worked, but I'd be willing to try either one or both again. I don't know if anybody here has like thought about that stuff like I have similarly, but people stuff like letting you sign cards, lands, basics. So there's some sense of community. I don't know if I love that, but I can see why people do that. I think if I had like a pauper cube or something, I would do that. But the idea of somebody signing any card in my cube right now is kind of terrifying. Maybe like basic lands would be good. Yeah. Anyway. I mean, I have some ones that are like nice. They're just like old border basics, foil basics or whatever. Nothing I feel too strongly about. Maybe my Bob Ross lands I feel strongly about. Yeah, it's not an incentive. It's just like a gift. It's like, hey, sign this, you know? But I like the idea of like creating that history or creating that moment in time, kind of sealing it with something. And I know like maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing because like a lot of this is about the gathering, as opposed to the magic itself. But like, my biggest incentive to try hard was playing against people better than me and wanting to feel that I was good enough to be there at Ryan's drafts. Those are your proud wins. That's cool. Just being around better people. That certainly does happen when you're in a bigger community of people. But I find like sometimes I'll draft with people that are like a lot better than me at my own cubes, but they don't care. Like they'll be super try-hardy people or spiky people, and then they play cube and they're like YOLO and like they don't care about what happens. And I just want people to care a little bit. Like if I beat, when I beat what I consider to be one of the better limited players in all of New York City at my own cube or at somebody's cube, and he's just like, yeah, well, I didn't really care about winning because it's not like there's nothing on the line, I isolated those kinds of comments and was like, I want to make this person feel like they should try to win because they like winning. But what about, sitting down and playing cube suddenly stops that? It's like a psychological puzzle, I guess. maybe a little too complicated to just kind of answer or propose some kind of incentive, you know? If I made like a league and a bunch of people wanted to play it, that'd be different, but maybe that's what KubeCon is all about. Shout out KubeCon. All right, let's keep going through these answers. So, one play group bi-weekly and usually eat as well. One of us hosts who play out at a farm or a cabin once a year as a getaway. That sounds nice. Do a monthly as a potluck, no cries, so we keep an undefeated archive as an incentive. Okay. Just creating like a trophy board or something. As like a archive. That's nice. But that's good. Like, Ben has one play group that he always plays with. And then they, you know... Oh, two play groups. Oh, one play group it's one, and for the other it's monthly. Well, that's cool. That's a lot of magic. Good for him. Alright. Now, Dan, I know what yours is. Yes. I mean, the COVID conscious thing is important to bring up. I think I more than appreciate your approach to that. And you're not the only one, too. I know Scotty is also, like, you know, he wants us all to test before going over there. Which is good. And I think if I host people over here, it'd be the same exact thing. People would bring my cube to meet up. Previously would bring my cube to meetups and events to play with almost anyone. Yeah. And that's kind of what I do. I just bring the cube with me. Like if I was going to a GP or something, I would just bring the cube. And then like people would just come over to my room to play, or I'd text out things and be like, hey, I'm hosting a draft. If anybody wants to come. So I met David McDarby, by the way. I just was at GP Vegas, or Magic the Gathering Las Vegas, as we called it, in November. And just like, you know, posted that I wanted to cube, and he posted that he wanted to cube, and I DM'd him and came over and played. Him and his partner. So no ritual house rules, so I try to make it a bit more of a nice event. Yep, you hit a farmer's market, get a little spread, because you're an adult and this is entertaining. It is entertaining when you're hosting. Right, exactly. Exactly. I have host a cube draft afternoon every 4 weeks, and I have a list of about 15-ish people who I blast invites to. So far, I've been consistently getting 6 to 7. See? The numbers check out. 15 people, 6 to 7. You gotta have 20 people on if you want to get 10. At a minimum. People usually bring snacks and drinks. We cube with no real stakes other than fun. Wrap up before Saturday evening plans. So that's the good. It's very efficient. And Austin. I have a core group I regularly play board games with, Commander and sometimes Cube. I also have a nice long list of alternatives if expressed interest in Cube, or I've potentially wanted to play one of my own environments. My current primary cubes are a Desert Cube, Budget Cube, Multiplayer Board Game Cube, and a Sticker Cube. My Sticker Cube has 27 different local players historically. Meet about once every month to 2 months, as often as I can find a spare weekend. I usually try to do 2 drafts in a day, or 1-2 days in a row with some player variation. No larger event. I usually don't do any prizes. In Sticker Cube, there's a prize for going 3-0 and retiring some of your cards and signing a card for the Hall of Fame. No penalties, though. Haven't heard of that in Cube, actually. No blanket house rules. Some of the environments have draft stipulations. We usually play at my house. Some is at LGS if we don't know more of the drafters personally. So again, once a month, maybe 2 months, do a whole weekend. I like the retiring a card and signing it for the Hall of Fame. That's cute. And then I have, I think... Wait, no, that's me. I have... Okay, so Thomas. So I'm sure, like, y'all know Thomas Crone or follow Thomas Crone, but Thomas has, like, a huge invitational that he does every year. Not worth getting too big into, but if Thomas ever, like, talks about it any other way, he can... I know he's gone on the record a lot talking about the whole thing. He does a big year-end tournament. So has like a ton of qualifiers. They've been doing it for 13 years. Trophies, tokens. He sent me a bunch of tokens, by the way, when I first started trying to be a community member. 60 people on the mailing list. Um, so my only important question was who cooks and who brings the food and does everybody eat? What unfortunately, it's the assumption is that you've already eaten before you start playing, which I get it. Like if you're playing a qualifier tournament, you know, it's much more of a you don't want to have the food break in there. And then you have an open bar, which is nice. We haven't talked too much about alcohol on the stream as it pertains to Cube. As everybody knows, the more alcohol you drink, the better you get at cubing. It's just science. Look it up. You know, you don't need me to don't really think I need to go into that too much. Trash talk is welcome, yes. I've, to the point where, like, I know I'm passing to somebody who's blue, and I'll just show them, like, Jace or whatever, and just put it in my pile. Definitely done that a couple times. They run 2 to 4 qualifiers a month on average, which is a lot. They won in Amsterdam, one in Haarlem. We asked for €1 per person for a pending qualifier. This fund is used to location costs, token sleeves, other incidental costs. The only prize for winning is a qualifier. A qualifier is a seat at the Cube Invitational. So yeah, I would love to come to just play in one of these qualifiers one day, but you know, going to Amsterdam just to play in a qualifier tournament is like a lot of money and something I don't really need to do at this point in my life, at least willy-nilly anyway. Maybe if maybe in the future for other reasons, but not gonna have any time soon at least. So that's about it for mine. I guess I could go over I guess I've kind of gone over some of the stuff that I've done in the past with y'all. I think maybe I should make it a goal of mine to try to host a draft at my apartment this summer maybe. Get some chairs, invite some people. That's probably one of the things that's hindering me the most, I think, is like I always try to do it at other people's houses where I could just do it here. If I just set it up right. Gotta talk to the lady about that one though. Having a bunch of nerds over could be fun, but it's probably a lot. It'd be all on me, you know. All right, I guess that's it for that part. Cubing, well, I guess like what my takeaway is that like cubing consistently is kind of a luxury, you know? Having like a weekly cube is definitely like a big deal, and not easy to do, and is better maybe like Anthony was talking about doing it in LGS, which is something that I've mentioned a couple times on the stream. You know, using an LGS like store credit, buy-in, making it an event, a weekly event, could be something that's, you know, I don't know. I could talk to Kevin about it. Definitely just want to get more reps in, and just build more of a community here locally. I did post. I am trying to do that, by the way. I'm trying to get something. Where is it? Here it is. Just something more, a little more something going here. I mean, I have enough interests. Thank you, Dan, for reacting. Very good. Wait. It's a shame that I won't be able to see Seth, but I'm really thankful that he invited me to this NYC MTG Discord. Give me a week is a dream. It really is, Anthony. Make an effort to show up to consistently to try to get momentum going. It is work, yeah. It's just like starting like a party or something, you know, like a nightlife party. It's like it seems kind of similar, you know. You need a lot of things. It's a lot of things that have to be in place. We have an awesome LGS. I mean, that's good to hear. You're down in Baltimore, I think, or the DC area. We have surprisingly not too many good LGSs here. We have like a lot of LGSs, but like not a lot of like really good ones. We have some like a place called Hex and Co, which is basically like a board game cafe, and the Uncommon, which is pretty similar. But there's not a lot of local communities there, especially of like regular tournament players. There used to be a place called 20 Sided Store in Williamsburg. It still exists, but it's not really a place to play Magic anymore. That had, a ton of people going just to play any kind of Magic. That's where I met a lot of the people that I still play with in New York now. But Game Storia in Astoria is an old friend of mine runs it, and he has a pretty good crowd there. Honestly, so my problem is having a bit of social anxiety where I really, really don't like to feel like I'm bothering people. I understand that. It's hard, like, it's just hard in general to put yourself out there. So, I get that. I'm really comfortable being that person. I guess I'm just kind of, like, still not great at organizing these things. I think if I had, like, again, if I could just host here, it would be a lot easier for me, because then I could just bring people into my house. You are in Baltimore, yeah. The higher constraint on number of players is challenging too, and it's hard to balance getting people to show up and then potentially not having enough room for people. Yeah. And like when you're a host, there's a lot of pressure on you to like make sure everybody has a good time, I'm always so concerned. I ask people after the draft or after the gameplay, I'm like, did everybody have a good time? Like, did you enjoy yourself? It's important to me to know that. And people say yes, but like I'm always, like, did they say yes because it's just because we're all around friends, or did they say yes because they enjoyed the cube, or was it a mix, or what are the, I think that's part of the reason that Commander works so well. As a casual format, you bring your own deck. It's less people. Those are like really like big things. Who trusts positive feedback? I mean, I've learned to, but it took a lot of therapy. Or was I? God damn it! Got me all distracted. Um, you know what? I'm gonna get something to drink. I'll be right back. How was the chair stream? Was it good? Hey, by the way, not sponsored by the, or anything, but I've been drinking. Well, okay. So over the past couple of years, I think since the pandemic started, like, Kate and I have kind of had like a drink, like a summer drink. I mean, it's not like a dedicated summer drink, but it's like something we stick to as much as we want and explore it. And this year is kind of an interesting one. So we went out. We went out a couple weeks ago and found hard kombucha. And I don't know if anybody here is like a big kombucha drinker or a hard kombucha drinker for that matter. But we found hard kombucha, which is basically brewed kombucha with I don't know, like a 7% alcohol by volume. So this is 6%, but I've had 7 and 8%. So it's on the low end, but we're gonna take the summer to explore the hard kombucha, the hard kombucha availability, whatever is out there. Try all of them. Find a favorite. Find maybe a way to mix it. But usually we drink a kombucha every night, kind of like a beer. And so this is actually more like a beer. And this is from June Shine. I don't know if this is like interesting to any of you. But it's hopical citrus, so it's like grapefruit, orange, pineapple, like hops, green tea, and then like green tea and like kombucha, whatever. But it's nice. It's like not. I don't feel bloated like I do with beer because I can't drink beer, even though I like the taste of beer because it makes my whole body like swell up. And it's not like there's a strong taste of alcohol, but like I still get like a really mild buzz off of like 2 cans, which is nice. And I love the flavor. It's like reminds me of some of those summer kind of beers where they put like sea salt in it and like stuff like that, like Goses and stuff. My summer drink is Lean Kugel's Summer Shandy. I learned to love it in Chicago, but I find it's very hard to find in New York City and can't really drink beer anymore. So you've been off it for a while. Well, that's unfortunate you can't drink beer anymore, but you gotta find something else. Can you just not drink alcohol in general, or like, is it just beer? Is there something about hops or something, or barley, or yeast that's hard to digest? If that's too invasive of a question, please don't. You don't have to answer that. By the way, I'm like 2 hours into the stream, and I still have some people hanging out here, so thank you. I know it's not the most like engaging content I've made since I started doing this, but there are weeks where it's a lot easier to come up with things and weeks where it's not. I just appreciate that y'all come out and hang out with me. I really do. G&T is probably my go-to summer drink. What's G&T? Because like all I think about first is like GT's kombucha. Hey, you know what? I mean, it's chill time. Oh, gin and tonic, yeah. And gin makes you sin, Anthony. So, I don't know. Ugh, I like gin, but I usually drink. Like last summer, we drank Palomas, and then in 2020. It was kombucha mixed with tequila and lime over ice, which is really good. I'm kind of like coming out to y'all that like I'm trying to be a healthy person, which, you may or may not care about or agree with or whatever, but I try I devote a good amount of mental energy to trying to be healthy, especially as I get a little older. It's actually a big struggle with me, like when I go to conventions, like when I was in Pittsburgh or whatever at SCG Con. Rest in peace, by the way, because I'm not fucking going to one of those for the time being until something happens or something else comes up. But we can get into that at another time. But there's really nothing to get into, I think. But like when I travel, generally I have to bring snacks with me because eating in a convention center is like kind of a nightmare. Like if I'm just being completely honest about it, like it sucks a lot, and it's often just like straight up garbage, like things that I wouldn't ever think about eating, and I have to be so hungry to eat in a convention that I will do whatever's possible to not. I instantly regret it every time I ever end up breaking and doing it, and so I have a laundry list of things I bring to conventions now, and I'm like lugging food on a plane to go to a convention just so I can make sure I eat clean food during the day is just like, it sucks. The bright side of it is that like I have a backpack full of like energy bars and like, you know, my pink drink I had in here, like those like caffeine pills, like caffeine and B vitamins and all that stuff. And you just grab some fresh food at the hotel, and I just eat like a mountain of dried food, and then I go out and eat like a massive dinner. But like just traveling while trying to be like healthy in any way can be so hard, and at conventions it's like actually so hard that like I've taken it upon myself to like bring most of my food that I eat during the weekend with me. I didn't do that for Pittsburgh, and I regretted it. But I found some food, like some like nuts and shit while I was there that was fine. But man, it's hard out there, y'all. If you try to be conscious about what you put into your body in any way, it can be tough. It can be tough. Anyway. It's 4 o'clock. What's the weather like? It's still actually not even raining. But it's supposed to start soon. Well, I guess cross your fingers, kind of, for me. I was hoping to play some Commander tonight in the city. And it's still not even raining. So if like if it's not raining by like 5 or 5:30, maybe I'll jump in a cab. I don't know. I gotta see. Yeah, still on Marin. It's my only deck. I want to get an aggressive commander. I want to put that together, but I haven't quite decided. I was really loving Feather, but I'd have to play a couple more games with it. Any SNC additions? That's a good question. I actually didn't look at SNC for my commander deck. Let's pull up the old Scryfall. Yeah, Feather's sweet, man. Like, granted, like the first time I played it, I think I like killed 2 people on turn 5. Like I straight up just like did like 40 damage or something, because I had Dreadhorde Arcanist and Leonid Lightscribe and Feather, and I was like casting everything multiple times, and my creatures were getting so big. It was pretty sweet. Adeliz of Cinderwind, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm sure it's like very similar to Adeliz, but the fun thing about Adeliz is you get to like do like the fucking wizard shit, which is really like you get to like pick creatures because they're like cool wizards, and you get to be blue-red, which is obviously really fun because blue-red is amazing. A fun fact, I took Adeliz to a modern GP once. I built I brewed up a Blue Moon list after Jace the Mind Sculptor became legal. When Adeliz came out, and I built Blue Moon with Adeliz. And it was like yeah, Dreadhorde Arcanist, really good. Just a really good card. But yeah, it was like I played with Snapcaster Mage, Adeliz, and Vendilion Click. And Jace, Blood Moons, and then it's like all like whatever, like remands and ops and bolts and shit like that. And the concept was that you could you could board into a Jace Blood Moon control deck, or you if you need to, but like the core of play like a kind of a tempo game, or like just a mid-rangey kind of like answer your threats and then try to kill them with something. I often felt that like Blue-Red had like it used to have a really hard time with that, because like you often had to like hold the board for a couple turns, and like Bolt Snap Bolt only works against so many decks really. So like Adeliz allowed me to I could 14 or 15 people in one turn, you know, and that was awesome. I just liked that I had the closing speed with Adeliz that I wouldn't have with other cards in Blue-Red at that time. And I actually tested out Magic Online. I went 4-1 a couple times. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. And then I went to the GP and I went 0-2 drop or something. Yeah. It was big sad. But I thought the deck was really fun. Because I love Adeliz. I mean, played a lot of Dominaria, and definitely first picked my fair share of Adeliz's. I've recently begrudgingly decided to put some money in having an okay commander deck. Give myself a $100 limit to the cost of the whole deck. Let's try and be low power level. There's a lot of shit you can do for $100 in commander. Like, there's a lot of ways you can be competitive for $100 with average commander decks. All right. So, what could I play in Marin? I mean, Semi-Hereditary Tampering just doesn't seem very good. Because you have to wait. Dust Mangler is not great. Graveyard Shift is too expensive. Nightclubber is fine, but not necessary in Commander usually. Rogue's Gallery is not relevant to me. Shadow Mortality isn't. Shakedown Heavy, no. Underdog, no. Alright, so let's go to green. Bootlegger Stash, not my kind of deck. Evolving Door, no. I have Birthing Pod, thank you very much. Fight Rigging, it's not that kind of deck. Gallagreeters, it's not that kind of deck. I mean, playing this as a 2-drop and then making treasures is kind of enticing, I guess. Titan of Ministry is fine, but it's just not as good as Avenger of Zendikar or whatever, and you only need 1 7-drop in the whole deck probably. And arguably I don't even need Avenger of Zendikar. I just play it because it's just a way to win the game. That's not combo killing people. Toberry Stomper is whatever. It's a 4/4. Vivian, I had Grist in the deck and I didn't even like that. So I'm not sure I would really like Vivian or any other Planeswalker really. I mean, it is a Birthing Pod, kind of, but it costs 6 mana, and that's a big ask. I do ramp okay. But I would really only be using... I would be using 2 of the abilities. If anything, so far, this is the only card that seemed remotely interesting to me. And I'm probably not going to find any gold cards. Yeah, I'm not going to find any gold cards here. Because my deck's only black and green. No. No. Nope. Nothing, y'all. Workshop War Chief? Which one is that? Is it the Thragtusk? The Blitz creature? I mean, it's like a fine card, but like... I don't really attack often at the deck. Like, I don't even have Recurring Nightmare in the deck right now. It's mostly like a drain. It's mostly like playing cards that like drain the opponent. And like, you know, a bunch of Grim HaruspeXes and Midnight Reapers and like, you know, things like Wood Elves and stuff. So I don't really have like this kind of plan for it right now. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, is there anything in the commander decks? Maybe. That's probably separate, though. Yeah, it's separate. It's a new Capenna Commander. There's a lot of fucking cards here. Again, I need to look at exactly black and green cards. Okay, here we go. At the beginning of your end step, each player loses 4 life unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. It's not really... Each player loses 4 life. But it's only on my end step. No. Like, I have all, like, the sacrifice stuff already. It doesn't really do anything for me. 2 mana, 2/1 ETB Surveil. Whenever an opponent draws a second card each turn, you may return it to my graveyard to my hand. I mean, that's fine. It's like kind of like Satyr Wayfinder, I guess. Putting cards in the graveyard is strong. It is 2 mana. It's actually not... It's actually kind of interesting. Right? This is kind of like Satyr Wayfinder. You just don't draw a card. But the thing is, then it has to die for you to get it back. So it can be incidentally milled, but that's about it. Or sacrificed. What does NCC mean? Oh, new Capenna Commander. Y'all with the... Dan, I tell you, sometimes you're just too much lingo for me. Draw a card for each creature that died this turn. Destroy, connive. Whenever at the center of the battlefield or deals coming to a player, exile a target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, make it 2/2. If it was a land, create a treasure. Otherwise, you gain 3 life. This is fine. It's just graveyard hate. Which I don't really usually need in my playgroup. It's not bad, though. It's like Callous Blood Mage, but worse. I don't really have a need for graveyard. If I needed graveyard hate, this would definitely be a thing. Just so much of like your interaction in Commander has to be like blowing up artifacts and enchantments. Takes up a lot of real estate in the creature suite. Exile 2 cards from a graveyard. If the spell is kicked, exile that player's graveyard and make it 2/2 for each creature. Well, that's good against me. Wave of Rats. When it dies, if it dealt combat damage to a player, return to the battlefield. No. Xander's Pact. Casualty 2. No. Bribe Taker. Wow, look at that guy, huh? When it's on the battlefield, for each kind of counter on permanents you control. No. Chaldea Guardian. Whenever it or another creature you control with mana value 4 or greater dies, create 2 citizens, and it has Blitz. It's a lot of game. It's a lot of game pieces for that card. No. No. Whenever you attack, put a shield counter on an attacking creature. No. So much of my deck wants to sacrifice stuff. Beginning of your end step, you may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. Then put a number of counters on it. I don't need counters. Killer Service. Create another food tokens, equal the number of opponents you have. In your end step, you may pay 2. No. When it dies, you may put a creature card you own with lesser mana value from your hand on the command zone or from the command zone on the battlefield. If you do, return this to the battlefield attached to the creature beginning of the next end step. That's interesting. Wait. So when you put in spend 3 mana, put in a creature. When that dies, you put a creature card either from your hand with lesser mana value on the battlefield or your commander. Which would mean that, like, if I put this on a 5 mana value creature, I could put my commander on the battlefield directly. And then if you do that, you get to put this onto the Marin or whatever. I mean, that's not terrible. Like, it's kind of like Pattern of Rebirth, but it specifically lets you put your commander into play. It's kind of interesting. It's really hard to get, like, not creature spells. Like, the non-creature spells have to be surgical in that deck. Scepter of Celebration. Nope. 2/2. No. No. Oh, there's a Golgari card. Grime Gorger. 4 mana 3/3 menace. When it attacks, exile to 1 card of each card type from defending player's graveyard. Put a counter on it. No. Beginning of combat on your turn. No. No. Mari. Looks like something from Strixhaven. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Though those creatures have death touch, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from it. No. Boxing Ring. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, fights with one target creature you don't control the same mana value. No. Scry 3. Ooh, it's a traffic light. No. We have Extended Arts. Is that it? These are like reprints. Okay. Alright. So, not really. I mean, I guess, like, Next of Kin is, like, kind of interesting. Dogged Detective seems slow. Because it needs to die. Yeah, it's okay. I don't ever really expect to find things. Is there anything in Warhammer? No, I guess not yet. What's this? Oh, yeah. And then we have Infinity cards. Well, I kind of love these shock lands, so. Alright, I guess not. I guess we're a little lean on Marin cards for SNC. I have to say, Chaos Cube actually becomes a reality if I can host. Lethal Scheme seems really interesting, right? Somebody was talking to me about that card. It's like Vraska's Contempt, but if you convoke, that creature then connives. So you can like connive 4 creatures, like connive on 4 creatures, which is like, you know, the value seems more tied to being able to connive, because conniving is like very good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like looting 4 times and killing something seems very powerful. Like even if it's just 1, right? Like even if you just like convoke 1 to tap like black 1 and kill something, and then loot. It's definitely true that like conniving is good for in a Marin deck, because you definitely want to put a lot of cards in the graveyard. But like targeted removal isn't something I'm too concerned about in the deck. I actually wonder sometimes if I should just test this card in like a cube, you know? Hold on, we're having an update on whether or not we're going to be going to the city to play Magic. Wow, I can't even like comprehend how chill this fucking stream is today. I usually try to keep it so formal, or like a little more presentational. Interesting. It's not raining. It's actually kind of nice out. Let's look at the forecast maybe. Partly sunny. Thunderstorm watch. Percentage went way down. Look at that. 38%. 78% here, and then 9%. So it's going to be really short. Fuck, maybe I should just go. Hold on, let me text them. I'm streaming right now. Should I get in a cab? I like that. I like that I'm doing this with you guys today. Hey Anthony, thanks for hanging out today on stream, bud. I don't think you've actually like showed up here before. I think you came in as Lucky Paper once, but I don't know. Hey, Zach's back. Mr. Zenith GP, how are you? I talked about your UMA cube. I'm sure you are. Hey, when am I gonna come down and play Magic with you? When's there gonna be your big weekend of drafting? I need to know in advance because I gotta take off work. I usually need like a month in advance to plan. Yeah, the forecast is looking pretty good, so I should be good. Pick a day? It's up to me? Are you fucking kidding me, man? So let me ask you this. Is it better to do it like on the weekends? I'm assuming, right? Most people in this world work during the week, unlike me. The reason I need so much time is that I work on the weekends. Bane of my existence. Everybody always wants a cube on Saturday. I just need a cube on Sunday, okay, people? Come on. Alright, let's get this forecast out of the way. Oh, I'm going to talk about one more thing. Okay. You'll be doing things Saturdays? Okay. If we can do like a weekend, like a Saturday, Sunday thing, I'd be down for that. So that way, like, I feel like I'm coming down and like, it's an event, you know? I'll take like the train down or something. I could probably plan something in like July at this point. Yeah, Friday into Sunday sounds perfect. Did Magrini and Scotty stay at your place, or did they get their own place nearby? How did that work for you guys? Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And I'll come by. I'll definitely come. We just have to get it on the books. I'm getting a DM. Cool. All right. I'll DM you on Discord soon, and we'll talk about it. I'll give you a couple options for when I personally am available, and then we'll figure it out. All right. I think I need to start heading down to play some EDH. All right. Here's the deal. Follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna do some mood board photos of this. Playing tonight. So, you know, my usual blurry photos that I like to take. Thanks. And hey, you know, I know it was like really chill today, but like, thank you guys for hanging out. You know, the more I stream, the more I learn that like, I don't have to have like a plan all the time. I just need to have consistency. And even if it's like a loose plan, it's totally fine. I don't expect the stream to get like really big or anything, but like, you know, because I only talk about some pretty niche fucking shit in the Magic community. So, I just appreciate you guys spending some time with me today. So look for some fuzzy photos on Twitter soon. Couple hours. I'm gonna get into a car and play some Magic. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging. And I'll see you next week. You like that?